right, we are live. All right, good evening, everybody. It's been a while since I've made a video on YouTube. Today is literally unscripted. Figured I should just catch up with everybody if anybody's listening to these. I definitely want to talk about the agency more and scaling the agency. It's been months since I made my last video, and a lot's changed. Lots changed with our staff, our clientele, our partnerships, myself. I think last time I made a video, I weighed like 35 or 45 pounds heavier or something. A little puffy. Still got some more to go, but things are going well, man. I've been busy. I just figured to jump in here. I think the last video I did was kind of like a video diary or journal or something like that. And I kind of like the idea of just being open about everything going on at the agency to share with people. But yeah, I just want to talk about the agency more in general and kind of my experience scaling it. So to get everybody up to speed, we're partnered with, we're officially partnered with 7 franchise brands now, with like 3 or 4 in the pipeline, which is crazy. I've never been in this position. I always had just like one brand for the longest time. Great brand, amazing brand, but it's scary, it's risky. And for more context for everybody, our niche for our lead generation agency or marketing agency is in franchising. So we partner with franchise brands and then work with all their franchisees individually, one-on-one, to do all their local lead generation. And that's how we get our revenue, is from the actual franchisees. The franchisors are our brand partner. It's a great relationship. It's high risk, high reward. If you do a really great job with the franchisees, it's really easy to get sales, because basically franchisees all talk and they refer you and you can grow really quick. But then if you do poor with a couple franchisees, they all talk, can literally wipe you out overnight. We've experienced things like that too. So, but it's a good game. It's a good game to be in for us. But if we want to grow, the best way or the best path for growth in our niche is through brands and finding ways to partner with more brands. Because every time we partner with a brand, you basically become their preferred vendor, and you can pick up franchisees left and right. And if you're doing a great job, you can scale through the brand. So our goal, our latest goal, has changed. If you talk to Tristan, maybe the last time I made a YouTube video, I would have said, we're on a sprint to 500 clients. And then my business coach told me, hey, you should really read The Science of Scaling. And ever since reading The Science of Scaling, it's changed really what the book does is it changes your frame. That's like the whole point of the book. It just changes your frame on your business and everything. And essentially the whole idea is set a moonshot goal, something so impossible that you have to change your thinking. If it's not impossible, if it's 1% under impossible, you'll find ways to kind of make it easy and get lazy. So it forces you to set what Tony Robbins calls like the moonshot, where it's like, this is literally, quite literally impossible. So I'm in the process of reading that book right now, but that moonshot would be 1,000 clients in 12 months. And we count a client as a location, a paying location. Because the way our billing works is every individual location that a franchisee owns, they end up paying us for. It took us over 5 years to get to 100 clients. When I started this agency, I was 18. And back then I was like, man, if I could just get 5 clients, if I could get 10 clients, I'd be bawling. A lot different now. But it took a very long time to get to 100 clients. Paying clients, so active MRR coming through. There was multiple times where I got close. I tickled it. I got up to like high 80s, 90, and then it plummeted. We went through all kinds of growing pains. Last year was like a really hard year for us. In the beginning of this year, pulled out of the trenches, cut the staff in half, had like a mass exodus all in one day, completely took control of the entire business. They were all great people that worked for us. Really, really grateful for them. I think they're great humans. But there's just all kinds of things shifting in the business internally. But anyway, went all the way down to, man, I want to say like low 60s of active paying clients. Grinded our way back up to 100. It's been an absolute grind. And yeah, it took 5 years to get to 100 clients. Now, we hit 100 clients not even a month ago, I want to say. I think somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks ago. And I count active clients in that. We sign people that are in the pipeline, service agreements signed, that I do not count in that, because we want to look at active MRR. Now we have, I want to say it's about 135 active clients as of today, the day I'm recording this, which is August 12th, which is crazy. We've done something like 45 sales in 45 days. Phenomenal. We'll be over 150 clients active inside of August 2026. Now signed, we have a slew of them signed. Something we started doing was we rolled out what was called like our portfolio partner program, where if you're a multi-unit franchisee, most times franchisees come to a brand and they buy a bunch of locations all at once. And we basically give them better economics, like economies of scale, if they say, hey, we're going to commit all these locations to you. So if we want to be like other agencies where we count signed work, where we're not collecting the MRR just yet, starting to get a little bit of it, we are well over 200. Well over 200, which is really, really exciting. And now, in the past week alone, I've got the opportunity to work with 3 more brands. We, as a team, phenomenal. So that's the state of the business. Things are just off the charts, growing like crazy right now. I'm so incredibly grateful. And we're just unlocking all kinds of growing pains that you wouldn't get access to at our previous, levels of growth. My coach calls it, or I think Bedros Killian calls us this, but my coach is telling me new levels, new devils. You don't know till you get to the next level. And now we're dealing with much bigger, much different, that will one day seem measly, but different, challenges. And a lot of it always just comes back to like bandwidth, how I'm managing my time and getting myself in different areas of work, take over on those responsibilities. And that's what we've been doing. We've been hiring, and I'm so proud and confident in our recent hires. Truly feel like they're A talent, and they're already completely changing the agency, which is just feels so good to say. But yeah, it's been great. So in terms of staff, we've been doing a lot of internal promoting, which feels good. It makes me proud. Like I love giving more opportunities to the people in-house. We just got we just landed a really big hire that is building out our customer service department, which is everything in our business. In our agency, it's everything. It's a very high touch agency. These partnerships, these clients are very, very high touch. I wouldn't use the word needy, because I think it has like a negative tone to it. We like interacting with them often. We like educating them. We like keeping them in the loop and involved. It's a very powerful network of people. But man, one of the biggest lessons I've learned this year is like investing in talent. I've got the new frame or perspective of being okay with lessening my margin to pay for quality people in the short term, because it's going to pay off. So anyway, I'm kind of ranting, but man, a lot is changing in the agency. We've got so sophisticated with our technology and like our tech stack. That sounded kind of nerdy. Something I'm really excited to talk about eventually is how we are utilizing AI. I've told like a very small set of people about how we're using AI. We've been recording this video for 10 minutes and I realize I'm not even really like looking into the camera, which is like breaking the rules of YouTube because it's just super casual for me. So sorry. I just don't know which camera to look at. I don't know if it's this one, or this one. Let me see. Oh, it's the top left one. Okay. I'll start looking at the camera more. We've had to change our operations. We now have a head of operations, and that feels extremely cool to say because I always just ran all the operations. So now we have someone running all the day-to-day operations. We have someone running all the client success, building out that whole department. And we have our creative director who does a phenomenal job. Just setting the strategy for all of our clients. We're going to begin investing a lot more time and effort into the Fifth Element brand, which I'm very, very excited about. But man, our operations have gotten so much more sophisticated because we went from, maybe bringing in a few clients a month for the longest time to, for the past couple months, we are quite literally bringing in a client per day. And my role has changed significantly where I am basically brand partnerships and sales and biz dev. So I'm fighting to pull myself out of the weeds right now. Our team's doing a great job supporting that. But I am literally doing like 3 pitch calls a day, sometimes 4 or 5, and closing like crazy right now, which is amazing. I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm just so incredibly grateful. But it's forced us to shift from focusing on delivery and results, which is important. So I'm not saying we're not focusing on that. But we used to be an agency that was really good at delivery and results. And now we're redefining the business. Now we're an agency that's excellent in onboarding and giving you the full client experience and getting you up to speed in under 72 hours and launching your campaigns and ensuring consistent results and great customer service. So we've had to change. We've just had to have so many rounds of changing our perspective on the business, and really starting to understand like what business are we in. We're in franchising, sure, that's our focus, that's our niche. We do lead generation, sure. What we really are is just a service-based business at the end of the day, and we're figuring out how to scale our services as fast as possible. It has just been a complete just turnaround, man. Like this year has just changed everything for us. So anyway, operations are getting so much more sophisticated. It used to take us 5 business days to onboard a client, get them fully up to speed. And then there was like some pain after that. And we're dealing with all kinds of churn. Something that we're dealing with at the beginning of this year, we're dealing with 15% churn. That is insane. I think it's something like a 10% churn. If you had 100 clients at the beginning of the year, you're already out of clients by the end of the year. If we look at our past 90 days, we've gotten our churn down to, it's less than 4%. It's like 3.7 or 3.5%. Mostly because we're doing a lot of sales. But we introduced like activation points where the client gets more perceived value. We've made a lot of adjustments in client success and how we provide proactive communication and what kind of communication. But a lot of this is expectation setting. I made a YouTube video about it like last year about onboarding is everything because it's all about expectations. I have learned tenfold since I made that video, and I can't wait to like redo a video of what our now onboarding is like, because it is worlds different, especially now that we're beefing out this customer service department. Our operations are so simple. We don't even need 3 days. We used to need 5 business days to onboard people. We say 3 days to give us a little bit of cushion and time. We can onboard a client now in legitimately under 60 minutes. A lot of it has to do with AI, not AI slop, but we have just sophisticated like our tech stack and like infrastructure that we're on so much and made things so incredibly simple. But we're scaling out like a great experience and great results. We're not just scaling out slop and like diluting our product to make it easy. We're just building the model better, if that makes sense. And I know it's a lot of buzzwords, but okay, this video is already getting kind of long. We're getting to 15 minutes. I could literally go on for days and days and days because there's so many things that are different now and so many things I'm excited about. One of the things I want to quickly touch on before we wrap up is how we're using AI. And I plan on making a lot more content about this. Also, I want to try something. I want to try moving this over here. Switch up the vibe. Oh, we got the Amazon. Oh, whoops. There we go. Got the Amazon box in the back. Okay. How we are using AI is crazy right now. Stick with me here. So, hold on, by the way, I gotta see, is my phone about to die? Oh, I can't even see the battery. All right, I'm trusting it won't die. Actually, we're just gonna plug it in. We're gonna plug it in, hold on. Okay, we're good. Here's how we're using AI. Oh, is it still working? Okay, thank God. I asked a question. I talk to myself all the time, so I asked myself a question. How are all the big businesses using AI, like a Fortune 500 company? I cannot see these companies just giving their whole staff like a Claude team plan and then hoping that everybody uses it correctly. So I started doing some digging, and I found all these videos on Twitter of like Anthropic employees, the ones that are in charge of like huge partnerships with huge businesses. Their job is to go into these huge businesses and help deploy AI. And I'm watching this content and I'm like, oh my God, they use it completely different. They're talking about having like huge swarms of agents. And we're not talking like OpenClaw agents that get busted up and don't work after like a couple runs. You constantly have to refine them. They're talking about like 10,000 automated agents in addition to humans being able to use the AI. And it's like this like high a Claude team plan so we could all start pulling from the same information. And then I realized, hey, just because you're on Claude team doesn't necessarily mean you're pulling like the same context. You can just like share chats and projects and things like that. And it is helpful, but it's not as dialed as I thought it would be. And then I looked into like, okay, well, how are these agents running? And what is an agent? An agent is a very specific use of AI. It is a little AI agent that has like one specific task. And the reason you build agents is because you need a task done that has judgment layered into it. Because if there's no judgment needed, then it's just a workflow or an automation. And you could build that on like high level Zapier. You could build a complex like N8N system or something. But you don't need an agent. An agent has judgment and it executes things kind of like a human. And they're a taskmaster, but they do one task. Then I came across this content about context and memory for AI. And it explains how AI itself is just like the engine. You have to understand it's just the workhorse. But it's literally just like a car without wheels or a steering wheel. It's just the engine. It's just a raw power. If I gave you the world's most powerful AI and I had one that's half as powerful, but I had a second brain, which is a memory, like a sophisticated way of storing context and memory, and we use these AIs in like a business application or something, mine's going to smoke yours 9 times out of 10 because it has all the information it needs to execute on proper jobs and like do things the right way. Simple, right? Makes sense. Okay. Now let's get a little more complex. How do I have a swarm of agents automating work for my business and all the humans at my business, how do I have all of them pull from the same centralized source of information without worrying about an agent or a human poisoning the well, making sure there's built-in feedback loops. So if an agent or a human discovers a topic or an area that there's gaps of knowledge that needs to get filled, they can contribute back to the brain or back to this like memory storage, and I figured it out. I'm going to make a way better organized video, but I basically built what we're calling the nucleus. Internally, we call it just the brain, the fifth element brain. And it's basically just a very sophisticated file management system, but it's like living. We built it in GitHub, so it's not just stored locally. And a lot of it is just like markdown files, but it's with an insane amount of context on the business. Now, to make it living and actually useful, what we did was we created a brain stored in GitHub, and we connect it to every single platform ever for the business. Whether it's Google Drive, Gmail, Slack, Asana, Meta Ad Manager, Google Ad Manager to monitor campaigns, getting it connected to Loom to be able to download transcripts from the videos, Otter AI, our note taker, QuickBooks and Stripe for revenue and financial information about the business. Literally every single thing that you can think of that the business touches that's queryable, the brain has access to. Now, the whole point of the brain is that if you're running agents that are going to be doing tasks for your business, if they have to connect to all these different platforms to get full context to do one simple task, like, hey, help me create a brief for this meeting before I go in, so I have an agenda and it's an efficient meeting. Okay, well, our clients communicate in Slack, our tasks are managed in Asana, their campaigns in the Meta Ad Manager. If you're going to have an agent or just a Claude chat interface from like a human go do that work, it's going to burn up a ton of tokens and time. If you truly want a swarm of agents doing work all the time, they need that information and that context rapid, because it's going to save so much more time. And if not, it's going to cost you a ton of money. So you need to build a second brain for your business. And then you need to figure out how to get all this information in the brain. So we built automations every night that pull from every single platform in our tech stack and grab all the information. Every single Slack message, every single email, there's a filter on it. So it filters out any like sensitive information like payroll and stuff like that. But every single email our team sends, every single data point from every single campaign in the Meta Ad Manager, every single activity or data point in Asana, like complete full context on everything is uploaded into the brain every 24 hours. What we also did was we backlogged. We gave it all of our SOPs, our playbooks, our way of thinking, all of it. Then what we did was we built agents that audit the brain and figure out ways to sophisticate it more, aka organize it better, so that when other agents go to use the brain to complete a task, such as write a brief on this account, this is a very, very micro example. When it goes to write the brief, it understands where to access all the information so that it could use a very, very simple model like Claude Haiku. And it goes from it taking 10 minutes and costing $2 for one simple execution to it could write an extremely comprehensive brief on everything going on in the account from client sentiment, from meeting transcripts and email conversations and Slack threads, all the way down to their campaign performance. Compare the campaign against all the other franchisees in that brand because it already has the brand median cost per lead, click-through rate, CPM on file. Like, it has all this context, and it takes 5 seconds and costs 1 penny. And that's like one micro example of how we're using the brain. Then when our team uses their Claude team plan, we've instructed the Claude team environment to not do a single thing without first indexing the brain. So then whether you're a day one employee or you're myself, you could ask any question to Claude team and get brain for your business, build feedback loops so that the brain folds into itself constantly, like all day long, aka it gets more sophisticated and it's extremely organized because it's not just about housing a bunch of information in one place so that it's accessible. It's about housing all the information in one place in an organized way. Because what happens is anytime one of your agents or your humans using a Claude team plan execute a task, they're going to access the brain and it's going to have to search and find the thing that you're asking it to find, whether it's campaign data, a certain email, whatever it may be. So if that information is hard to find because it's just sitting in an abyss, a sea of tens of thousands of markdown files, it's going to burn up a ton of tokens and time. Whereas if you build a directory at the top of your brain and it says, hey, if you're looking for this information, go through this folder tree. Here's exactly where to find it. Essentially, you need to have what's called like a schema, so that agents can navigate the brain rapidly. And then build in feedback loops. So have multiple agents that audit the brain, and you can build these agents in Claude Console that audits the brain multiple times a day and asks itself, how do I sophisticate the brain so that it's better, so that all of our agents become more powerful, more efficient, and cheaper. And then as you're building agents that are doing work for your business, build in feedback loops into the agents. Let's say, hey, on every task run, things that I'm not even bringing up that can make this brain or this system that much better. And I'm planning on making like a ton of videos about it because I think it just completely changes business for everybody. This isn't just an agency thing. And I'm fired up about it. But it's AI is useful. Once we built this brain for the agency, now we're like at a turning point where like we'll never go back. You could take AI away from us. Like if you go back a month and you're like, hey, you can never use AI again, we'd be like, bummer. Definitely was helping us out with a lot, but we'll be okay. Now, this is what is allowing us to scale and sign a client per day. And I will confidently say, hopefully, going into 2027, The only way we're going to be able to do things like sign multiple clients a day, every day, and onboard 100 accounts a month is having an infrastructure like this. It keeps our payroll costs down. It keeps our team significantly more organized, powerful. Everybody's in the loop. We all have context. There's really like 6 main guys in our office managing a ton of clients, and each one has tons and tons of context and information. And the reason we can handle it with a very lean team is because we have this brain where we can ask it hard questions and it can track everything down in seconds or minutes. I feel like I did a poor job of explaining how this brain works. I plan on making more videos talking about it. But the general theme of today's video is I'm back and I'm pumped. The agency's growing like crazy. We're scaling like nuts, dude. And I'm just extremely, extremely grateful for everything. And I want to like just share, because when I started my agency, I don't know, man. I just didn't think any of this was possible. I knew I'd get there. I just didn't know. I had no idea. I was 18. I had no idea how long it was going to take. I didn't even know if I could get to 10 clients. We're not doing like $1 million a month or anything yet. The goal is 10 million ARR. And probably get the agency in a place where we can build it to sell it. If you asked me to sell it today, though, I'd say no way, Jose. I'm having fun. It's very challenging, but I'm having fun. I love this thing. I'm 6 years in. You can't pull me out yet. But I am just a normal guy, and it's working, and it's really exciting. So I'm going to wrap this up because I could just keep on going. But this is basically this was like a little mini podcast or like a little video journal or something. So if you stayed this long, appreciate you a ton. It's 12:30 a.m. and we leave to Maui in like 24 hours. And I got a ton of work to do before we go to Hawaii. So I'm going to stay up for another hour or two, crush a bunch of work, and then start making some more YouTube videos, man. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you. Peace.